if we had big bubble collapses in 29 into 1930, obviously the stock market crash and the Great Depression, and then the dot-com collapse, we hit this trend line again. You can't assume this is just your run-of-the-mill 10 or 20% drop in the market where we zoom to new all-time highs. You have to be a little bit more cautious here from a technical analysis standpoint that this could be greater. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a Great Depression, but something between the dot-com blow up and then the Great Depression, again, maybe a Great Recession again. I do think that is a possibility. But I think what you have to think is now you're looking at the 30 to 50% type move from start to finish. Again, when that low is put in, it's harder to say. But considering we were down about 20 on the S&P, 20% on the S&P just a few weeks ago, it wouldn't be outlandish to see 30 to 50% as a decline, possibly more if the trade war extends. But my hope is that enough pressure gets exuded via the stock market and investors. Maybe a little bit of the trade war gets pulled back, maybe some deals are struck, and maybe even more free trade could kind of keep us from that worst case scenario. Unfortunately, it's almost an inevitable scenario in that it's just a matter of time, right? So we have this scenario where the US debt has climbed dramatically. We have this scenario where inflation is now being pushed up because of tariffs, was never down to the 2% mandate, which handcuffs the Fed. You have a lot of scenarios here where we haven't had a proper recession. And remember, recessions are normal processes of any cycle. You have expansionary periods and contraction. And because of the Fed's intervention and the US government spending so much money, it's kind of been, we've been on a drug high, if you will, where we've been just enjoying the good times for far too long. So in the very least, I think we're due for a lost decade of stocks, much like we saw after after the dot-com collapse in technology, where we could be at a point where we don't see new all-time highs on the markets for 10 plus years.